Good evening. Welcome to our Rise of the False Gods video. Uh, so glad you're here. We're having our book study tonight. And gosh, you look closer than usual. I'm gonna push this back just a little bit. There we go. Okay. And all righty. Here I am. So I have a little thing going on right now. If you give me a second, I just have to answer a text. You know that thing about interruptions? Sometimes an interruption is absolutely necessary. Hold on. Okay. You'll know why I'm doing this. Um, Hang on a minute. Oh my goodness. Hang on. I'm sorry. This is a spiritual lesson. Okay, so I am so sorry I had to be interrupted, but that was something that needed to be dealt with immediately. Um, and actually, a little lesson that we all can learn. What a person chooses to do is up to them. So, what happened was I got a text from someone who told me they went to the store to buy something and they were getting that something they were buying and a couple of other items. And the thing that they were buying was kind of expensive. And, so anyway, they got the thing, they paid the bill, they got home and felt like they had quite a treat because they were not charged for the item that they went to buy. So I said, bring it back and pay for it. I mean, it's the right thing to do. And the person said, oh no, I've worked retail. They just tell you to just keep it. And so what there's the moral dilemma there. And what do you do with a moral dilemma? So I told the person, I said, call them. If they say keep it, then keep it. But if they say pay for it, that's the right thing to do. Because of the law of cause and effect, it's going to bite you in the butt if you try to get something without paying for it. If you try to get something and hang on, the answers are coming. Stop. Didn't mention any names. Oh, I just got in trouble for it. Who'd have thought that anybody'd even be watching it? Anyway, that's the way it works. Law of cause and effect. And uh, see, I'm in trouble just for trying to use a logical spiritual lesson, an anonymous logical spiritual lesson. So much for that. Well, it's a way of life for me. Okay, so let's continue with our book study tonight. And we are on spiritual warriors, and we're looking at the characteristics of spiritual warriors. Good time for it, right? Okay, so we're on page 213, and it says these are the characteristics of spiritual warriors. While we may not have mastered them yet, aspiring to do so qualifies for us as a warrior in the making. A spiritual warrior is, number one, fearless. In his book, Spiritual Warrior, John Rogers says that fear is a form of atheism. If we believe in God, in principle, there is nothing to fear. We focus on God. When Jesus walked on water, he reached out to Peter to come and join him. And Peter did fine as long as he kept his eyes on Jesus. When he looked around and realized what he was doing, he sank like a rock. So what we have to do is we have to have the focus and not the fear. I'm working on this one. It's a hard one for me. So anyway, that's one of the reasons why I keep the affirmation, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. That's why I keep looking at that to remind myself, because some of the stuff that's going on in the world today is pretty fearful. Okay. A spiritual warrior lives the laws. Understanding law is principle, desiring to create positive effects. The warrior does not vacillate. With practice, this becomes easier. And it's really a hard thing to do, to always live in alignment with cause and effect, to be aware of everything we send out is cause and what we receive back is effect. A spiritual warrior has integrity. They are consistent in thought, word, and action under all circumstances. A spiritual warrior is a peacemaker. From the foundation of our unity, the spiritual warrior tries to see truth at the center of any real or perceived conflict, speaking words of truth with love. A spiritual warrior is truthful. Living the law, a spiritual warrior can be trusted to tell the truth while honoring confidences. The spiritual warrior speaks the truth with love, but not compromise, willing to risk rejection for the will of God. A spiritual warrior is reliable. If a promise is made, a spiritual warrior can be counted on to fulfill it. A spiritual warrior is selfless and generous. Understanding God is the source of unlimited good, the spiritual warrior supports the good of all and his or her own good. A spiritual warrior is self-aware. Having developed their spiritual DNA, which is mission, vision, values, and core beliefs, the spiritual warrior embraces and demonstrates their highest expression with the realization they are still striving toward the goal of mastery. A spiritual warrior is patient. Trusting the work of God through principle, the spiritual warrior waits with faith and patience for desired results, while continuing to do the work that is his or hers to do. That's one of my stress areas. Patience is not a gift of mine. Well, I suppose it's a gift. I just haven't opened it yet. And I probably will take me years to open it because, yeah, I do have my moments. A spiritual warrior lives their beliefs with integrity and focus. The spiritual warrior practices what they claim to believe in every aspect of life. A spiritual warrior stays grounded through regular, dedicated, consecrated daily practice. The spiritual warrior maintains focus and revives the spirit within. It's a spiritual warrior is like a beacon of light, standing tall and true to their values, shining forth the light from within. Spiritual warriors are like a beacon of light in the darkness of ignorance. Those who search for truth are drawn to them for enlightenment and guidance. So, what would you say? What do you think your gifts are? What are your characteristics? And what do you need to work on? Knowing what we need to work on is very, very important. And I personally, I know that the more I work on it, the stronger I'll be. And that's one thing I really think that as we go through these challenging times, it's important to speak your truth, to speak it with love and not judgment, because that's the one thing when we are in trying to live the life, and we have to. I guess one of the good examples of this that I could use is the reminder that when I used to have a more colorful vocabulary and was in the bookstore that I love so much. I know I've told you this story before, but there's probably people that hadn't heard it, and you want to share it. But I used to go into this beautiful little store called the Catbird Seat down in Haddam, and by the Haddam Bridge. And I would go in and I'd buy books and I'd talk to the ladies. And I was going through a pretty tough time in my life. And my vocabulary was pretty colorful. And the lady said to me, she took me aside and she said, you're such a lovely person, and you're fun and you're smart, and we love when you come in and chit chat. She said, but when you use language like that, it it takes away your intelligence. And in that day, I was changed. Does a foul word slip out of my mouth? Oh, yeah. But if she had not shared my error with love, it was not judgmental. It was like, when you do this, that happens. And sometimes that's something we have to do. We have to call others to come up higher, but it's not about them. It's not about judgment. It's about love. It's about, why would you want that to bite you? I mean, everywhere I would go when I would talk like that, that would take me down steps in intelligence. And I do feel that way. The reason I heard it and listened to it is because it was true. And I was able to take it from a different perspective. And it's a real risk to do that. And I know a lot of you, you don't want to have to stand up and call out others to come up higher. And if you do it as gently as that woman did with me, where she told me, I'm nice and smart, and she thinks I'm wonderful, but that is not working for me. And here's the sad part. I was too embarrassed to ever go back in that store again. And that was like 45 years ago. And so I do know that she's on the planet. She was no spring chicken at the time, but I value her deeply for having done that. And I thank her, and I pray she's kind of hanging with me right now, knowing that my love for her and for that moment of speaking her truth with love changed my life completely in the twinkling of an eye. Okay. Well, we are going to move on now. It's probably going to be short tonight. That'll be good. Tonight, we're going to go on to the duties of the spiritual warrior. This is on page 215. So the duties of a spiritual warrior vary depending on the gifts and the inner call. There are common duties spiritual warriors share, which include put God first. There are we strive to live through the higher mind rather than the carnal mind. Okay, we remember the four quadrants of consciousness: intuitive sensing, and human thought, and human emotion. So you see the difference? Sensing is something we pick up, we feel wordlessly. Emotions are the word emotion, separated. Emotion is energy in motion, so it stimulates. When we are when we are sensing something, it is a very conscious, very directed. It's more precise than even a picture could be, because we know that we know that we know, but we don't know why, and we don't have to. Whereas emotion can be driven by anything going on in our life that is about me. It's about me. It's about my stuff. It's about, okay. Uh, all spiritual warriors need to work on turning angst and anger into action. Be an agent of positive change. That's what we are committed to do. We want to help create positive change in the world. And we can only do that by being that light, by sharing our truth with love, and by loving the unlovable. We want to build bridges, not walls, to work continuously and tirelessly to mend the connections and relationships among people of every race, religion, gender, and lifestyle. We are all one. Earlier when I talked about a spiritual warrior is selfless and generous, think about the organs of your body. While each one is distinctly different, it's individual, but it is an inseparable part of the collective and gives all to the health of the body. And that's what we're supposed to be like. We're supposed to be that oneness, to share with others. Okay, Tishy's not a happy camper right now. She probably wants me to put on cat TV. Okay, so we want to learn to build bridges, not walls. And it's not an easy thing to do. And to meet people halfway um, without going so far as to compromise ourselves. Spiritual warriors together need to be role models, a beacon of light for those who are searching. See, that's the whole thing. Dr. Phil once said that if you're talking to your teenager and you're correcting them on something and they roll their eyes, you better believe they're rolling their eyes, but they're still listening. People watch us. We are an example. What kind of example do you want to be for others? Spiritual warriors develop self-discipline. This one's not easy either. But again, it's about holding that focus and fighting distraction and manifesting good. It's a hard job. It is a hard job. And because there's a soap. I don't know how popular it is anymore these days, but it's called Ivory soap. And they used to say Ivory soap is 99 and 44 100% pure. They didn't say pure what? They said pure. And it was so pure that it floated. Well, I'm probably not pure enough. Well, I do float, but I can be pushed down. um, when we try to develop self-discipline, we are making ourselves stronger. It's not easy. In these challenging times, I have had to fight myself over and over again, fight my fears, fight my impatience. Remember that fear is a sign of atheism. Because you either believe God can do it or you don't. As for how but we have to remember we're still a part of it. We're still a part of it by right of consciousness. And the more we uplift our consciousness, the more we uplift ourselves. The harder we work, the stronger we get. I am so waiting. I'm waiting to exhale. I'm waiting for the daily stresses of even seeing certain names and knowing that, oh God, and threats and peace and attacks. And I'm so waiting to exhale and go back to a time, or forward. Should I say forward to a time? Because we have to overcome this. We don't overcome it, we're not going to get past it. So we have to overcome it. So is God calling you to be a spiritual warrior? Look at it this way. Oh, and this is what I was going to say before. God is calling your heart to work for the health of the whole body. That's its mission. That's its ministry. How about your kidneys? There's two of them. But you know what? They're probably not identical, but they both have a job. And that job is to cleanse stuff, bad stuff from our system. Or what about our skin? We got to take care of our skin because our skin is holding all of us together, right? And of course, the answer for all of those is yes. They're being called out for the good of the whole. And the answer for you is that you are being called out for the good of the whole. And I believe this is what Jesus meant when he said, "These things I do, and even greater things shall you do if you believe. Follow me." That comes from John 14:12. Each of us is here for a reason. We share a moral responsibility in an increasingly amoral world. We do. So it's not bad, it's good, but it's like this. You know what they say, evil can only persist when good people stand by and do nothing. Doesn't mean you got to be a warrior, suit up, get your gun or whatever. No, it means that you speak your truth with love, because hate will never drive out hate. Only love will drive out hate. And on those words, I'm going to let you go. We are a little early tonight. Tomorrow, the topic is, who shall I send? And we say, here I am, Lord, send me. So we're going to be doing that, and your mission, should you choose to accept it, if I move along fast enough. And I hope you think on those things. And when you are asking, if you're thinking about what we shared tonight, go into your heart and soul and say to Spirit, where would you have me go? What would you have me say? What would you have me do? Okay? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say? What would you have me do? And thank you, and have a wonderful night. And I will be looking forward to, tomorrow's Friday already. Where the heck is the time going? I don't know. God bless you. Good.